She works at the housing.
It's like, I don't know where it was, but we went to too much to pull away from you.
And when I make that.
She would kiss me, she would. She still feels she's been looking for someone to spend the evenings with for a while.
I told him that you blame all this on Randy because you brought it back from Mexico. He says, I think it was my other buddy.
I'm wearing too.
You're friends with Kai too? He says, yep, we used to wrestle together.
I'm just kidding because it's not no one for me.
Thank you.
You know, I was over to Walmart this morning,
We're just too
and
busy.
they get a couple of things. And what you said, Sue,
I think she'd think that.
I mean, I've been around food for all my working career of some sort. This is the worst I've ever seen.
Good friends, and they're both.
Well, now I have, but I heard the ammunition guns are flying off the shelves.
Oh, no.
They are, people are going and buying them.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I don't know, but you know, it's the old saying, you can stop all you want, but protect it, because somebody's gonna want to go and get it.
Everywhere.
Uh,
I just saw
Facebook.
I get quarantined with my wife
it. She
for
got
14
this
days. I was
pressure.
sure
Because
it
of-
would be the virus that killed me.
Mark, you didn't start that or anything, we got.
No, I did, I just started.
You know you're on the mic. So just ignore it, okay? City of Kenyon is calling a special emergency city council meeting for Wednesday, March 18th, 2020 at 5 p.m. at Kenyon City Hall. First is a call to order. We have Councilman Guard, Richard Cole, and John Mortensen.
We gotta call,
And we will
Richard.
call Richard Nielsen. He is absent because of medical.
So let me.
Mayor Henke is here and City Administrator Paulson is here.
Alright.
So we will wait until the call is here. You're gonna let it on continuous?
I'm gonna use that phone, but I gotta get
Okay.
his number here.
This is, Mark just dropped this off now.
Hello?
Richard,
Yes.
this is Doug, Mayor Doug.
Yeah, how are you?
Okay, you were on the speaker phone.
Okay, good.
And we have just started our special emergency council meeting. And everybody is here and you are doing it by phone.
Okay.
So do you have your paperwork in front of you?
No, I do not.
Can you go and get it somewhere?
All right, just a minute.
Sure. Somebody turn up the heat or what?
I did. I could turn
That's
it
okay, I'll live with it.
I turned it on like 23. You get registered?
Yeah. When it's off, it blows cold air up here.
It'll stop though. It just is like a blast furnace for a few minutes and it's done.
Right, no kids, but still recording. So, you teaching remote. I'm learning fast. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Richard, did you find it? We'll give him another minute or so.
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna move ahead. Richard should catch up with us. Go to number 2, COVID-19 response. And there's a number of issues with that. First one is discussion on planning for possible temporary changes to future operations, some of the city facilities. We'll go with that. Manager,
So there's 2 city facilities that I'm just gonna have them give you a quick update, that are gonna be impacted by, one of them already is impacted by a temporary closure, and the other one probably, and the council's gonna have to make a decision on that, but, first one is the library, so Michelle, if you wanna talk about briefly.
Hello?
yeah, Richard.
Yes, apparently it's been discarded or moved or something because I don't have it.
Okay, I'll tell you
I've
what.
got the KMU meeting stuff,
Yeah.
but not the meeting now.
Okay, Richard, you can hear me okay, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we will read it off to you. And what we're doing right now is a COVID response, 19 response. And that first item on it is a discussion on planning for possible temporary changes to future operations of some of the city facilities. Right now, Michelle from the library is going to speak, so I do hope that you can hear her, or she may be able to move over a little bit closer to Councilman Guard, and then you'll be able to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
I've always wanted to
Yeah,
pretend
that
I'm an
works for you,
attorney,
yeah.
so I'll just pretend I'm the attorney. So the library is officially closed as of 4:30 today.
Okay, I can just barely hear her.
Okay, can you speak up a little
I
bit?
can turn the volume.
We'll have the volume turned up for you, Richard.
Okay, thank you.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
That sounds good.
Okay, we got, is it okay now?
All right, try that.
Yes.
Okay, we'll let it that way. We'll start getting a little bit of a background here in council.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Richard.
sure.
Okay, so as of 4:30 p.m. today, the library is closed to the public, at least the physical library itself coming in.
You're too far away.
Is this actually, I bet it's not.
Why don't you try this one here?
Just go over there and talk, it's phone.
It's gotta be right on the phone. I don't think these speakers are just on the phone. Okay. So as of 4:30 today, the library is closed to the public. We are going to continue doing limited services such as curbside services. So patrons can still request materials online through our online catalog or call the library. And we will notify them when their materials are available, and then we will run them out curbside. So it will just be Assistant Librarian Barbandi and myself in the physical library. So we are adhering to not having a lot of people in one place, social distancing, and then we can clean all the materials that are coming back. We're a small enough library that we are able to do this. Most of the libraries in the Selco region are also following this practice. There are 7 libraries out of the 37 that are completely closed with no services to the public. There are 28 that are staffed with limited services, but the physical building is closed, such as we are, and there's still 3 operating normally. The library board decided yesterday that we would close. We have been kind of holding off, though our neighboring libraries have closed either Monday or Tuesday already, but we stayed open today because we are a smaller library. We could handle the amount of people coming through our doors and still sanitize those materials. We are still getting delivery from other Selco libraries. About a third of them or so are still, a little more than a third, are still doing pull lists, meaning we are still sharing materials amongst each other. So we can still get those materials to our patrons. One thing that the libraries see, it's been very complicated because nobody really knew if libraries fell under the Executive Order 2004 from Governor Walz, which provided the temporary closure of bars, restaurants, and other places of public accommodation. After we spoke with Jen Nelson, who's the Director of State Library Services, we discovered that that executive order only applied to non-governmental entities, and that unlike schools, there's no statutory authority for the governor to close public libraries. It's truly a local decision. And so that is why I had the library board make that decision yesterday. We also have, from differing opinions again, from Health Commissioner Jan Malcolm said Monday to her department that they recommended that public buildings, including libraries, remain open as long as they had employed the social distancing practices for patrons. We stayed open as long as we felt safe, and at this point, though, I think it sets a better example if we close, as all other libraries pretty much in the state are doing for the most part. So that is the direction we're going. Again, we will continue with our curbside service offered Monday through Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. while the library is closed. All due dates have been set out to, I believe, April 7th at this point, so people do not need to renew their items. If we need to be closed longer than that date, we will automatically renew those items as well. And like I said, we're disinfecting all items that are being returned to the library. So we're just taking it a day at a time for right now. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't. That sounds like we're sticking with the guidelines. I was going to mention that I've seen a report that the hand washing was not as effective as they thought it was going to be, but that the virus, the virus can live on surfaces for up to 4 days. And so I was going to ask about books and so on that were being returned. How easy is it to disinfect them?
Well, for most studies that I've seen, it says the virus can live anywhere up to about 72 hours on hard surfaces, which would include books. We have been wiping DVD cases and books. Not all libraries are choosing to do this. Some libraries are actually quarantining their own books for 36 hours. They are putting them aside, not touching them if they're in a drop box, putting them somewhere. Selco is actually discouraging this practice as it's slowing down distribution of those books, and so we're asking that if you're not going to keep with regular CERC and lending practices set by Selco, that you turn off your pull list and you no longer are part of the lending system during this time. As for us, we have just been disinfecting our books as best as we can. There's only so much you can do. You can't, so we're doing the best we can. And we're trying to limit public exposure by closing the library, and people need to understand if they are choosing to use library materials, we've done the best we can, but we cannot be certain that there isn't an uncompromised item in the lot. We're doing the best we can. So.
Yeah. So I think that idea of quarantining items that have come back for 3 days or so is a good idea. That pretty much killed whatever's on there. But people would have to realize that if they have a popular book, it might not be available right away.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, good. Sounds like you have it under control.
Yeah, I think that we're a small enough library that we can definitely handle the volume of patrons and the volume of materials right now.
Yeah, Well, great.
Councilman, do you have any questions for her?
No, it sounds like everything's covered. You're doing what other libraries are doing, following guidelines.
People can still get materials.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
still have
so-
access. That's
It's all
good.
good.
And they can always call, or like I said, we're still there at least from 10 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, so somebody will be there to answer the questions, so the public can definitely call us.
Good.
We can still do reference work over the phone, of course, so.
All
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there any questions? You all satisfied? Okay. Go on to B, which is discussion on temporary change to staffing hours of work.
So do you want to update on the muni real quick? For the muni, I was gonna have him just give a
Okay.
quick update on, on sale now and the hours,
You want me up there also, or?
Yeah, so Richard can hear, that's,
the off sale part of me.
you got a more harsh voice, he should be able to hear you.
I'm used to yelling at people in the bars.
Yeah,
Okay, so
he caught you.
as I'm sure most of you have heard, as of 5 o'clock yesterday, we needed to run everyone out of the bar area.
Looks like you had a good crowd early before
It
5
was,
o'clock
it
yesterday.
was a madhouse. At about 4:45, no one seemed to be too worried about social distancing, because we were very full. 5 o'clock came, we kind of served up that last round of drinks a couple of minutes before 5, ran everyone out about 5 o'clock. I kept the off sale open till 7, I hung around there. It was very, maybe 4 people came in between 5 and 7, bought off sale. Open.
Now, would you have some way of limiting the number of people in the off sale at one time, so there's a line outside or something like that?
Well, I don't,
One at a time, or
that hasn't been an issue. I don't know that a line outside is necessarily the answer either. I guess we haven't looked into limiting the number of people inside. It hasn't been an issue yet. Like I say, I opened at 11 o'clock this morning. I think it was about 11:50 before the first person actually came in. A few people trickled in today, but I think they bought enough the last 2-3 days to hold them over for a while. I did, on Monday and Tuesday, I did the numbers reflective of a very busy Saturday on each of those days. So they've been buying, everything's been going well. Going forward, our plan is to keep the off sale open, kind of tentatively set a schedule of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. for Monday through Thursday. I think that gives everyone an open window to come in and get what they want, get what they need, either before work, after work, depending on their schedule. Everyone can find time for that. Fridays and Saturdays, when people are a little more likely to buy something, will be open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is what the state allows. And then on Sunday, I posted up there that we'll try and be open from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if this drags on beyond March 27th, which March 27th at 5 was the initial deadline, if this drags on beyond that and we need to adjust the hours to either make them longer or shorter, we can look at that. But I think if you give people, like the shortest day is Sunday, which most people at Sunday can find a time between 11 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon to get something they want. Wasn't that long ago they couldn't buy anything on Sunday, so they still have that window on Sundays. And an 8-hour window during every weekday allows people to get in there, and yet doesn't cause us all kinds of issues. Pretty much everyone who works for me has kids who are now home from school, so they're using extra parenting time and all of this and that. So it's set to where I can hold down the fort from the beginning to the end if need be, or some of them can hold it down. With my kids home, I wouldn't mind burning up. I've got enough personal time that I will never ever use up, that I will probably try and use up some of mine during this period too. And also, we've started on some projects. Like today, someone came in at 4 so that I could come over for this meeting. In the meantime, the cooler we keep all the bottles for serving behind the bar, we have that completely empty and sprayed down now. We've done it before, like a little area at a time, emptying out and cleaning. This is the first time since I've been manager, first time I know of since I've been employed there, which is longer than I've been manager, that cooler has been unplugged and 100% empty. So that's now soaking in bleach. I have other projects like pulling up all of our beer in the off-sale coolers up on raised surfaces. Well, now that's a project that we can one at a time pull those out, clean underneath. The off-sale shelves where liquor is stocked, we can pull those bottles down, wipe down those shelves. I have a couple things on the list from the health inspector, like painting under the countertops in the bathroom. So I have lots of projects that I can keep myself busy with and keep my staff busy with. I've told all of them if they want the hours, they're there. If they need time away to be with their families, we're understanding to that too. So right now, we're kind of in limbo, but it has been put out to my employees that if you're looking for hours, we've got hours, because we've got projects we can do. And that's, I say, I myself have projects I can do around there, but yet I myself, if the employees are wanting a bunch of hours, I have no problem in burning up some of my paid leave that I have coming.
Do you have any or many employees who this is their primary source of income?
I have one.
One.
Which is Jen Hansen. Everyone else has another job, Jen does not, and I put it out there for her that, hey, if you want to be in here, I've got hours for you. I've given her priority because that this is her primary job, and I know it.
Yep.
So I've given her priority of saying, you know, if you want to be here, I've got stuff you can do.
Yep, very good.
But she has in turn said back to me, she has 6 children in her home that are all not home from school, so she doesn't mind working a little less at this time to make sure that she doesn't come home to her house being destroyed by these 6 children. So everyone right now is in limbo. Everyone is under the understanding that all of us are just going to chip in, keep things going as usual, and if some of them want more hours than others, I've got projects for them to do. I'm hoping our numbers still turn out black at the end of the month instead of red, which, if the off-sale keeps going the way it has been, that shouldn't be an issue. But as things tail off, you know, we are, instead of selling Busch Light bottles for $3.25, now we're selling a 24-pack for $20. So the profit margin is much less than the off-sale, but I'm hoping the volume, you know, continues to stay up there where we can still maintain to be profitable during this time.
Yeah, and I would anticipate the off sale increasing in volume as people, desires for alcohol increase.
I think
Because they're
people,
not getting it, taken care of at the bar.
I think people who normally drink 4 or 5 beers a day are probably still going to drink 4 or 5 beers a day. It's just they're going to do it in their garage or in their living room or in someone else's garage or living room. So I think the off sale will increase as the on-premise is closed. They say the profit margin isn't quite the same on the beer sold through the off-premise, but I think the off-premise will still carry us through this time. Good.
Yeah,
If-
that's good. Sounds like you got it, figured out.
We're working on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else has any questions for Melody?
I was just gonna say, once you get to the 27th, I think, could we leave it to his discretion about hours?
If the 27th, if they open the floodgates, we're back on to business as usual. I've just heard several rumors that say that 27th isn't necessarily going to happen.
Right.
But as of right now, it's 5 o'clock on the 27th, which would swing right into the weekend, which if you were witness to the way it was at 5 o'clock yesterday, I think at 5 o'clock the 27th, we would have that many again, as soon as we said.
All hands on deck.
So if that's the case, I think we swing right back into it. I've just heard a lot of rumors along the way that don't think that 27th deadline is going to hold. I think it will get pushed into April or possibly
Yeah,
longer.
and I think we could let him figure out the hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, have
Yep,
discussion.
like I say, as we realize that, okay, on Mondays, we're not getting anyone until 1 in the afternoon if it stays like this, then maybe we open at noon or something like that rather than 11. And if it's like, holy cow, there's a line of people outside the door at 11, maybe we need to open at 10, you know. We can play those hours by ear. This is what I laid out to just basically from 11 till 7, that gives an 8-hour shift where if I come in, do the book work, get everything ready beforehand, that gives me a 9-hour day. Or if someone else is working and I'm there for a couple hours getting that ready, they can roll in when we open and it's an 8-hour shift for them. That's kind of why I laid out those hours. And I think that's fair to everyone shopping, that if they were second shift, they've got time to get in there beforehand and get something. Or if they were first shift, they've got time after work to get in there before 7 when we close.
And you haven't heard anything from any distributors as far as restocking problems or anything?
I've heard one beer distributor that one of my bread and butter products is out of stock at the distributor in Dundas right now, but they have a shipment coming up from St. Louis to be delivered sometime tomorrow. So I have ordered up approximately 3 weeks worth to hopefully have them deliver that on Friday. So we will have a surplus, but I have now gained a whole bunch of extra space to have that surplus if need be. I've got lining kugels.
I'll be over there.
Do you have a sidewalk sign? Do you, that just says, off sale open? or anything?
I do not.
Okay.
What I've done right now is I just printed out something and stuck it on the front door, stuck it on the back door, and stuck it on our counter with our new temporary hours.
Yeah.
But yes, maybe looking into getting one of those sidewalk signs made or picked up somewhere would
Would
be
not be a
good.
bad idea.
Yeah.
Because if people hear the Muni's closed, they'll confuse both the off sale and on sale together.
Yeah.
Just have something out there on the corner that says, and do we have to approve sidewalk signs, or can you just go ahead and?
I think under the emergency order, once that's,
Okay.
yeah, I think that can be extended for that.
Yep.
We had talked to Mark on this earlier today about bringing out some signs, maybe even making some temporary parking, for quick on and off. And my recommendation to Mark was to just let everything go, no fee for a temporary sign, and let it go. Maybe if you want to go into a sunset or when things change, we just, eliminate them out.
And maybe that for all the
But we have- yeah.
any business that is temporarily shut down, just let them do, or that has to temporarily change the way they do business, let them, put out a sidewalk sign or something, have that flexibility with them to let them know.
Yeah.
that- Yeah.
I'm
Because
sure.
we want everybody to make
Yeah.
it through this.
Yes.
We've talked about
Yes,
that.
I mean, bend over backwards, it
Yep.
has to be to get this thing going, because
Yeah, and I waive all
At this
fees.
point,
and-
I've heard from the police that there are people coming down from the Twin Cities to buy up our supplies. So any advertisement that would entice people from outside to come in, I think hurts the people of Kenyon.
Well, Richard, that is a point, but at the same time, I know that our citizens here will become accustomed to knowing the hours and that, but at the same time, it creates a revenue for us also.
Yeah,
Well, it's not like we're gonna run out.
I don't think it's gonna be a run out, there's certain things that are gonna be out, like Milty said, it's 3 weeks supply that he bought ahead. I think a lot of this has come through people going out and buying, stockpiling ahead, and I would say this year that somewhere into the near future, that it'll level itself out, and that where it won't be such a big mad rush. But I do look at it like Councilman Reginald did say, it's for all of the businesses here in town to work with.
okay.
So a couple things before you go to item 1B, or motion-wise. Should have a motion to probably, for both the closing of the Muni effective March 17th, and then for the closing of the library effective 3/19. I think it would be good to have have that in the minutes that was acted on by the council.
What was the first date, March what,
17th,
17th, and then?
yesterday, for the library, and then March 19th, effective March 19th.
And just to clarify, neither one is closed, they're just changing how they're providing service.
Yeah, I guess we could say maybe closed to the public. The on sale is closed.
Yep, but the off sale is open.
Off sale's
And you
open.
can still get a book, you can still get a
Library
Yeah,
is closed.
the library's closed to walk-in
Yeah.
Yeah.
patrons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a very good clarification to have in there.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I'll motion that, without repeating that whole thing.
Do you have that, Holly? Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion has been made and second to, Holly, can you read it back to us, please? I can tell you rough on what it is. We're on March 19th, the library will be closed except for people will still continue on working. And then for the Muni on the 19th, and those employees will still work on, but we will have off sale open to the Muni. Does that sound okay to everybody? Okay. I'm not gonna repeat it, but a motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes pass. We got
So-
you, Richard, I heard you.
Then the other item that Mayor, you talked to me about today was the city offices.
Yes, I got all of these marked down here, and I just
We
happened.
probably should do that under this one also because it's.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I figured.
Okay.
Is office staff, do you wish to speak
Um,
on the hours, or?
Well, basically what we talked about under planning for possible temporary changes to future operations would be basically closing the city offices to, again, walk-in traffic, walk-in patrons. The staffing part of it was more of a discussion item that we may have to look at, doing some things differently with staffing, but that's not so much probably a council decision-wise, it's just more information. But as far as closing the city hall or restricting it to walk-in, that probably needs to be adopted by the council, so that's where. And Doug called me and talked to all of us today about this, that, he's concerned about, people walking in. And so we're taking steps now to try to set up a place people can pay through that window when you first walk in the door out there. We're gonna replace that window. There's gonna be an opening in the bottom so people can, pay through there, but they don't have to come in the office. So that should take care of within a few days. But, Mayor, I don't know from a timing standpoint what you were thinking as far as closing the main office, if we're thinking about starting tomorrow, or how you wanna.
Well, that I was gonna let up to basically you three that are in there. Tell you what I've looked at is I belong to, there's a website for mayors in the state of Minnesota. And I've been reading a lot on it lately on this here. Some of them from in the metro area, believe it or not. Largest cities to, what comes to mind is any, Minnesota. Up there have literally almost all of them have closed their offices up. Meaning, for walk-in patrons and everything else. They haven't really adopted anything that works out that was not spelled out. But I think we should look at it, what works with these in the office will work out, but I do think we should shut it down to the public just walking in and out at all times until further notice. How long? I don't know. That's up to you, Councilman.
I hate to limit access to our government, to our citizens. Certainly we could limit it, and how would we go about that? Again, a line outside the door, or what? But just one person in the office at a time, as far as the public goes.
Well-
Get their business done, and so on, but it's gotta be, important business, not just some random question that they ask.
Well, we would have we would have the door, the outside door probably of the lobby open, so people can still come in the lobby. And there will be directions on there, and then on the door that comes into our office that have the phone number, emails, people can get a hold of us. And basically, we'll all still be, we might stagger our hours, we've talked about that, we don't know yet, but I think what it would do is eliminate some of this kind of more kind of casual traffic that comes in that, probably isn't the best idea right now, and it's not just us, it's the people coming in. But people still could.
Along the same lines as
Yeah.
as the airlines, only travel if it's absolutely critical.
If people come to the window outside there, then Holly's not gonna be exposed nearly as much to their, whatever, they might have, their possible, illness, we hope not, but they'll still see somebody there, a face there. So, I think that's almost the same as what they have now, it's just they can't come in and, see all of us. But if we have that window there, they still can see Holly or whoever's there and talk to them. Even if they have a question, we can come and talk to them. So, I don't think it's gonna crimp us that much.
The business that be taken care of over the phone. You don't have to come in and
Right.
expose people. There's some stuff that you need face to face, but most of it's not.
And we haven't had a lot of walk-in traffic. It's cut way down the last few days. So I don't think a lot of people are even coming in, so,
So the city hours would still remain.
yeah.
But Holly might be here for some of them, Sue might be here for some.
Well, depending on what happens.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody gets, ill.
Well, it's kind of like the way it is anyway, like if you have a meeting to go to.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if someone still wants to call in from 8 to 4:30, there'll still be somebody
Yeah.
here, and you'll be able to call or email them back if necessary at some point. I think this is fine. Yeah, I think that still, as Richard said, it still gives our residents access to their government. It's just a little bit of a more safer, distant access.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep. Do you need a motion on that?
Yes.
Yeah, I would move to allow the staff to close the interior door and deal with the patrons or citizens as needed that way, and to be able to stagger their work hours as long as the city hall hours still remain their normal hours.
Yeah.
While keeping that window open
Yep.
to the public.
Yep, that's.
Richard is second that, Holly. Okay, I'm not gonna repeat it, but, a motion is made and second by, a motion Dan Richiko brought up, you made the motion, Dan. Richard seconded, so all in favor of it, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes pass. Okay, I'm gonna go down through these here. We got, Lee, you probably are tied up to it. Do you want something to do on the police department? Give us any information or so?
Sure. Oh.
Afternoon, Richard, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay. Of course, for the police department, we're still open, we'll stay open, it's kind of how we do stuff. We've been spending some time trying to educate the public that we might be taking calls in a different format than we normally do. We're encouraging people to call us or text us. Again, they can get a hold of us on social media and so forth. Walk-in traffic has been slower, but we still have some. Today we had a citizen come in, elderly, didn't know how to get their vehicle tabs, so we actually took some time. Officer Amy took some time today, sat down with this person, and we ordered their tabs online for them. They'd never done that before. So we're going to be giving the same service that we give, but I think in a little different format now for a while. And I'm excited for it, actually. I think it's going to be an interesting time to kind of get people to maybe be a little more self-reliant on some things, which is great. At the same time, I think it's going to be good for us to have these opportunities to help them out in a way that we haven't done before either. So we've been spending some of our time just trying to get citizens to be calm and rational. They're not out of hand by any means, but I think some people are fearing the worst, and we're really trying to install calmness and level heads and not panic. There's still plenty of food around here. You can still get meat. You can still get the grocery staples. You can still buy gasoline. You can still buy alcohol if you choose. You can still buy tobacco if you need it. And it's going to be a new norm for a while, but I think it's going to be okay.
Now, I went and had somebody go to the store for me yesterday, and all the bread was gone.
Yep.
And I also needed rubbing alcohol, clean off my prosthetics. That was gone.
Yep.
So I was disappointed there. I was surprised about the rubbing alcohol.
And
Apparently, people feel that they use it to disinfect their hands or something. I don't know.
yeah, if you have an alcohol mix of 70% and put it in a spray bottle, you can use that as hand sanitizer. But we've also had people, there's bread back in stock today, but checking on some of our seniors today for supplies, and they're doing well. If you need anything like that, you can get a hold of us and we can provide that for you too. Because we have some resources of that. We've had people drop off toilet paper, baby wipes, we still have some food in our pantry in front. So it's not as dire as I think some of the public thinks it is for us. We've been talking to staff about proper cleaning, for our medical supplies, for going to medicals. We've visited with the nursing home about how they want us to respond. And like I said, it's going to be the new norm for a while, but it's going to work out okay.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else from me, sir?
No.
Okay, if you need any supplies, please let me know.
You guys are the front line, and good luck.
Well, we actually had a meeting with the fire department the other night. The first responders were great, and we'll make it through this. It's not the first time we've had challenges in our state or our nation, and won't be the last. So I'm really proud of all the co-workers and the citizens have been really good so far, so no problems.
Yeah. Have you had people call in wanting you to do something about, they think they have the symptoms and
No.
would like to be checked out?
No, we haven't had a single call like that yet. I think people are realizing that, this is a real serious thing, and you really need to visit your primary if you have any issues or an ER, but call them first and talk through it, and it's really not, we haven't had anything lately, I think even for our first responder call that way, so it's been good.
Fantastic.
All right,
Good. So all of the stuff on TV must be working somewhat anyway.
it is, and I think we're going to see really good things out of this. As unfortunate as this is, I think we're going to see people come together. We've had people reach out for things, like I said, and it's going to work out okay. It is.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do any other council members have anything to ask the chief?
You know where if you need us.
Well, you're always positive, chief, so we're hoping the best, and
Yeah, it'll be okay.
you can holler uncle if it needs to be, but I don't think that'll happen at all.
Officer Amy has been coming in, by the way. Her job in Egan has been suspended for now, so she's been coming in during the day, which has given me some opportunity to visit with business owners, see what they need, check on some of our seniors and so forth. Linda at the front counter has been great too, so it's really going well. It really
Okay,
is.
that sounds good. Wayne, would you like to speak up, or
I don't have much.
city departments?
So just as a courtesy, we have 16 minutes until, like Richard has KMU at 6.
Oh, okay.
So you have a couple of things yet to
Okay.
go over, but if you want to.
So,
We'll run through.
Public Works is business as normal. The only thing we ask is if people are out of toilet paper, don't flush shop rags or stuff like that, because it's gonna mess the sewers up bad. On the fire department side, we had a meeting Monday, and we altered our PPE stuff and our procedures, and we're here to respond.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other questions that anybody has? Okay, we'll move along then. KMU, we'll hear about later today, but it sounds like everything is okay with that.
Randy, do you have anything?
Oh, is Randy? Oh, I didn't even, I'm sorry, Randy.
It's business as usual. The only
Okay.
main thing is,
I didn't see you back there, I'm sorry.
there's different cities that are closing their offices, their break rooms, they're moving to a truck garage, so they're not so close. Some are just letting them take trucks home, be on call for trouble calls. So there's a variation all over the state, so.
Okay, since everybody is here, I've been kind of thinking about this here. Maybe could you just somehow voice, all of your departments, voice something, give to Mark on how your business is working out, like maybe once a week, on a Friday, if you're seeing things that are happening, or good things, or bad, or what could be, maybe be adjusted. And then that, you can send it to email to all of us, we'd still.
Yeah, we're gonna have department head meetings.
Electronic stuff.
We're gonna have department head meetings, at least in the short term here, probably every week, probably Monday at 9 a.m. like we started last week. So I mean, we're gonna have weekly department head meetings. So maybe what I can try to do is just do a summary from those.
Monday would be fine, yeah.
Yeah, so,
I would suggest that. We've tried before on other issues, doing a weekly report. It's hard to do it.
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, I think we're gonna, as department heads, gonna continue to meet, and some of it is
Yeah.
just gonna be sit down and talk about
We
whatever comes
can
up.
give it to Mark and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's hard to stay on schedule the other way.
Yeah, we gotta be a little conscious here too. It's kind of like up at the school where, you know, we gotta get ready for teaching remotely, and yet it's meeting. It's like, my God, we still got a job to do here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we wanna make sure we're just not making them go through additional hoops here, you know, because they got more stuff to take on already. So,
I just wanted the rest of you to be, you know, informed, all of us, a little bit of heads up on it. Okay, I think we've gone,
So are we going to be then, getting emails once a week?
Yeah, emails once a week. Richard, your email isn't working though.
Richard, yes, there will, but I was informed that your email is not working, so you better have somebody check that out for you.
What?
It keeps bouncing back.
Check it out.
Okay, very
All
good.
right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are we going on to C then?
Yeah.
Okay, or B? Yeah, okay.
See.
Emergency declaration, proclamation, Mayor Henke?
So,
Wanna explain that?
the emergency declaration process for government, whether it's county, state, city, is basically, it's a two-step process. In the case of the city, there's a proclamation that the mayor would read, and then, or someone on your behalf, and then that declares a 3-day local emergency, and then if that, in order for that to be extended, the council would have to pass a resolution declaring a local emergency. Now, according to the city attorney, the most common practice has been, especially lately, but I think historically, that this is kind of done simultaneously. So first you would have the mayor's proclamation declared, and that, all that is just reading this, and then he signs it. And then after that, the council would do the resolution or consider the resolution right after that. And the main reason is because this, according to statute, the proclamation the mayor issues is only basically 72 hours. So it's kind of weird, but that's something that needs to be changed in the law. But anyway, that's what it is. So in order to have something that might last actually a month or more, the council would have to pass the resolution. So Mayor, I don't know if you want to read this or if you want
Which,
me to read this.
Is that the one, 2020-1?
Nope, it's this.
I've got it here.
You got it all right there, don't you? I got a couple of these here.
2020-10?
Nope, it just says City of Kenyon proclamation.
Oh, okay.
It has a number on it. He was rated 2020-1.
yep, 2020-1.
Oh, it does, okay.
It is
You're right.
20-1? The same as the one you got?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't think it's necessary to read the whole thing. Do you?
Probably would
The
be.
gist of it,
Mark, why don't you explain what it's all about instead of
Okay.
familiar with it?
So, Richard, can you hear me?
somewhat.
Okay, I'll try here to talk loud. This is a proclamation declaring a local emergency in the city of Kenyon, Minnesota, proclamation number 2020-1. Whereas Douglas Henke, Mayor, City of Kenyon, finds that the following situation exists: a global outbreak of an infectious disease identified as COVID-19, abbreviated designation for coronavirus disease 2019, has occurred with confirmed cases present in Minnesota. In response to this outbreak, the governor of the state of Minnesota issued Emergency Executive Order 20-01 declaring peacetime emergency on March 13th, 2020. The number of confirmed cases in Minnesota is continuing to increase. Whereas this proclamation is made by the mayor and done under the authority of Minnesota Statute 1229 and 1237. Whereas the mayor finds the situation is sudden and unforeseen and could not have been anticipated. whereas the mayor finds that this situation threatens the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city and community, whereas the mayor finds that traditional sources of relief are not adequate to provide the protections and remedies needed in response to the outbreak, now therefore the mayor declares the situation in the city to be a local emergency effective at 5 p.m. March 18, 2020. The declaration of the local emergency will invoke the city's disaster plan. The portions that are necessary for response to and recovery from the emergency must be used. Date adopted March 18, 2020, Douglas Henke, Mayor. Attest Mark Falsing, City Administrator. So you just basically have to sign
Now,
that.
what measures are we talking about?
Richard, what this does is basically it sets up, it's more in anticipation of things that we might have to do in the near future. Those things could be staffing related. They could be equipment or supplies, and it would authorize myself and the mayor, and in some things the police chief, to make certain decisions or expenditures that normally might have to be approved by the council. It is something.
Okay, so you have to react quickly.
Yeah, it's more of a precautionary thing right now. It's not like a tornado or a flood that I'm more than used to. That you have a finite recovery area. This is unfortunately not finite, and it's something that's right now like a first preemptive step, and it's precautionary more than anything else. Hopefully we won't have to do a lot of things related to this, but we've been told it's better to have this in place than not.
Yeah, okay. So do we need to vote on this?
No,
Yes.
you're gonna vote on the resolution right after this.
Okay.
Okay, is anybody gonna make the motion on
Well,
I move
I'll
we
make the motion. We approve what we just put in.
You approve resolution 2020-10.
Yes.
that? What is Ken or Owen?
I'll second.
Oh, one,
No. The proclamation is given by the mayor. The resolution is by the council to continue the proclamation. Yeah. So was there a motion?
Yeah, Richard made it, I second.
Okay, sounds good.
Motion has been made and seconded on resolution 2020-10. Do we have to do that by manual vote, or is it?
No, I think you could just vote.
I read something about it might have to be manual.
Well, you can, that's fine. If you want to do roll call, go ahead.
Let's do it by roll call, just for sure. And we'll start out with town guard.
Yes.
Am I in favor?
In favor?
Okay. Dan Ritchie.
Aye.
Aye.
I myself, Richard, up to you.
Yes, aye.
Okay. Motion has been passed for resolution 2020-10. Thank you. Okay. Discuss possible remote council and committee meetings. I didn't bring my glasses along of all things. Kind of staring at this here a little bit.
So,
Richard, Mark, do you wish to come up?
yeah, there's a, Mayor and Councilman Nielsen and Council, there's a statement and determination that I made yesterday, and this is a mechanism under Minnesota statute that allows the city administrator, city attorney, or mayor to make a determination that based on extenuating extreme circumstances, that the determination allows meetings to be conducted electronically or by other means. This is in reference to Minnesota statute section 13D-021 that authorizes cities to meet by telephone or other electronic means if the presiding officer, chief legal counsel, or in our case, city administrator determines that meeting in person or by interactive television is not practical or prudent because of the existence of a declared, in this case, a declared health pandemic or emergency. I consulted with the mayor and city attorney in making this determination. So based on the authority of state statute, there's two findings that I've made. Until further notice, all meetings of city bodies governed by Minnesota statute chapter 13D including but not limited to city council meetings and meetings of all boards, committees, and commissions of the city, may be conducted by telephone or other electronic means, because it may not be practical or prudent to hold these meetings in person or by interactive television. All such meetings must comply with requirements of Minnesota statute, again, 13P021. The second finding is attendance by members of the public and the presence of at least one city council member, the city administrator, or city attorney at the city council chambers, in other words, here, for such meetings is not feasible due to a health pandemic or emergency declaration. So in real terms, what this means is that we'll try to have as many members come to the meetings as we realistically can, unless we've been advised differently. Then what would happen, say, during the regular meeting, and I don't anticipate any other meetings beside that in the short term, would be, I would be here, maybe the city attorney, and then everybody would call in, or maybe, one of you would show up, or the mayor, whatever. We'll work that out. But this gives us ability to have, electronic meetings and have a situation like with Richard call in, which we can't normally do right now under the law. So anyway, that's what that is. So this is just informational at this time, but I just wanted to publicly, kind of read this and go over it. So I don't know if there's any questions on any of it.
I have no questions.
So the goal is to try and keep the public meetings as much as possible, but
Yes.
if we go down, this gives us an option to keep everything going
If
forward.
somebody's ill, they
Yeah.
can still call in.
Yeah.
Because
Because
I think you were talking about a roll call vote, and I think with the electronic meetings, every vote
it has to be roll call, that's
Yeah.
correct.
It could be or it was. And we've already discussed, like planning commission meetings and that, we're gonna just more or less only on a necessary
Yeah.
basis.
That's what
So
we're.
there will be quite a few of them that we will be cutting out or so until things change. So.
Is there a way to allow for the press to listen in on those?
Yeah, they can come.
Okay,
And the other thing is if we get, for instance, say a variance application, we're gonna have to have a meeting, whether it's remotely or, and I mean remotely from people calling in, I hate describing it like that, but, or whoever can come, we'll still have to meet within legal, 60-day periods and things like that. So there are gonna be items and meetings that we may have to have, but I think the idea is gonna be to kind of push everything back if it's not necessary. The planning commission was looking at meeting next week, but there's no items that require them to act. They're just more looking at ordinance modifications and things like that. Well, that's probably gonna get canceled.
I had emailed Mark today about maybe on our April meeting, taking a look at protocol for Board of Appeal or Board of Adjustment if necessary, where maybe we could have people, if they wanted to write a written appeal and then have their phone number on there that we could call, if we're still in the midst of this in April, so that they could still have their voice heard without actually having to be in a public place with a lot of people. So that might be something we want to look at our April meeting protocol for doing that.
That might be good. You county yourself may make some changes on that.
Right,
So,
right.
But they have to do some of this process by law, so they're gonna probably, it's more gonna be not so much canceling it, but trying to come up with mechanisms to still have it.
Yeah.
But so that people don't have to come in. And that's the way most of them are anyway. Most of the time, people just give us an email or a letter anyways.
Yeah. Okay, going on here a little bit, I know we're towards the end, I believe now, but today I did get a phone call from, I missed the name, but he was, what was it, Mark, 2 weeks ago, that Mayo Clinic?
Oh, Mayo Clinic, yeah.
And the doctor that called me and talked to me today told me that as of Monday, the clinic here in town will be closed.
Temporary.